What's going on, everybody? It's Shane, the average mountain biker. I'm just going to start off by mentioning that I am a little sick right now, so if my voice sounds a little off, that would be why. And because of that, when I went riding recently, I didn't do any sort of talking to the camera while I was riding because I was feeling a little bit worse that day than I do right now. So I have the clips on my computer. We're going to watch them, and we're going to talk about the trails we rode that day. So let's get to it. Before the end of 2023, I joined a Facebook group called Cameron Park that is just trail updates and just anything about the hiking and biking trails in Cameron Park. And right after the new year, I saw some of the trails that they had put in there that they updated or changed and did some just different things to it. So first trail I did that day was Fox Run, so let's take a look at it. So right off the bat on this trail, I wish this first corner had more of a berm to it. There are these berms that are switchbacks that go down the first bit of the trail. They used to be a lot smaller, so I really appreciated that. Big gap jump that was not there before, so that was actually a nice addition to the trail. I really enjoyed that one as well. And then towards the end of this trail, they also have another jump that they added. All in all, I really like the update to the trail. It definitely has more, re-rideability to it, so you can change it up, and you have options on this trail now. So a lot of fun. Thumbs up for Fox Run. I enjoy what they did to that one. So there were a couple more trails in this video that weren't recently redone or adjusted or anything like that, but they were some trails that I've either never ridden or maybe I rode them one time. So this is kind of all about starting a new year. I want to ride some new trails. I want to keep up to date with the new things that are in Cameron Park. So these trails are all fairly new to me. And another thing that I'm trying to do is branch out into more of the technical trails. For the most part, I just am riding whatever I'm comfortable with. So I've been trying to test myself a little bit and see how it goes. I mean, I've had a couple of big crashes on some jumps, and those don't feel very good. So some days you just aren't really in the mood to hit jumps. So that's what this was mostly about this day. I mean, I was a little sick, and by the time I made it all the way up to the jump trails, because they did make adjustments on those as well, but I was sitting there at the trailhead for the two jump trails. Something wasn't right, so I decided I wasn't going to ride them that day. This next trail is Speed Run. It's just right off the river trail, and it's a quick downhill. You can either hike up it or bike up it. It depends on which way you come. Where I normally park at mouth of the Bosque, it would be a much steeper climb, and it would be one where you just go up and turn around and ride it back down. A lot of people like to park at Red Shelter or Jacob's Ladder, which is just on the other side of that first set of trails off the river trail. As you can see right here, after a pretty quick hike or bike up to the top, you get to the edge of this cliff. This is actually a portion of the trail called Edge, and it doesn't look like a lot of people ride it. I'm just kind of squeezing my way through these trees, but yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot at stake there. Luckily, the trail does go a little bit further onto the mountain instead of just riding right along the edge of the cliff. So if a mistake does happen, there's not going to be tragic consequences, but it's still kind of cool because you have it in the back of your mind. Don't look down. Make sure you don't go off the bike to the right, or it could get pretty bad. Yeah, and after hitting Fox Run and Speed Run on that side of the park, I was thinking to myself that I'm going to go see if I can find some more new trails that are closer towards the jump trails. And if I feel like hitting the jumps that day, I would. This next clip is just, I'm not exactly sure what trail this is. There's a whole bunch of trails that end in the same spot. And you've seen it in some of my prior videos if you've been watching, which, by the way, thank you to everybody who's been following me along this journey. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe so that you can continue seeing what I'm up to. This channel has been all about progression. And I believe that if you go back and watch some of my earlier videos, you'll see that I am a lot more comfortable on this bike. So just wanted to shout out everybody who's been watching. I really appreciate you guys. But anyways, after kind of struggling to hike all the way up to the top, I was a little bit uneasy with how that trail is going to go, so I just decided to send it. So let's see how that unfolded for us. I mean, it's pretty much a straight shot all the way to the bottom, and had I been paying more attention, I could have carried more speed right here and hit this kind of like a hip transfer. It's just a little jump right there that as it banks up. So that would have been, that's definitely something to add to the list to go back and do someday. So this trail right here, this is actually at the end of a trail called Baseball, and I had hiked up it one time before and thought, you know, this is a blue trail, and I had just kept looking at it like, man, this just seems a little chunky, a little steep for a blue trail. I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. So it took me a little bit to build up the confidence to just go for this, and I don't believe I started at the very top of this trail. You know, I was just kind of biking through the park and looking for trails that looked like fun to go down, that would challenge me a little bit. And when I came across Baseball again, I was just like, yeah, I think I'm ready to try this. So I may not have started all the way at the top of this trail. Definitely another one to go back to. So if you guys would like to see me do a little bit more in depth of all these trails that I'm hitting today and make sure that I record them from start to finish, you know, and just share that trail with you guys, let me know in the comments down below. And when I first saw this trail, I thought it looked a little intense for a blue. But you know, it's kind of hard to tell when you're just getting into the sport what the ratings actually are and how challenging each trail would be. But I mean, you guys let me know in the comments, because I think this trail is a little bit extreme for a blue. These rock steps at the bottom, they get pretty steep. I mean, if you don't know much about line choice, you could really get yourself hurt. Okay, so this is Buzzard. It is a single black diamond trail. I haven't really put much of an attempt on any single blacks since I started. Like the first day I went to go ride, I ended up going OTB on a double black, and that was just enough for me to, you know, bring myself down quite a bit. But yeah, I was walking up this trail, just checking it out, and I thought, yeah, I feel like this is totally doable. So I made it all the way up to the top and just hit it from start to finish, man. It was a lot of fun. It was a great trail. So if you're in Cameron Park, I would suggest checking this one out. It's got a little bit of tricky spots in it. You know, you got to watch your bars on some of these trees, but other than that, it's a pretty smooth trail. It just tests you just a little bit, and I would recommend this trail for sure. Like I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of trails that kind of end in the same spot. Baseball, Powder Monkey, and Vortex all kind of end in the same spot. This is one of those trails that comes into that little trailhead. And I'm not exactly sure what trail it was. There wasn't any signage posted at the bottom. And I just thought it looked like a nice, fun, quick downhill to hit. And I really enjoyed it. It was cool. I definitely carried more speed through that trail than I originally thought I was going to. So it got a little sketchy, but another good trail that I found. Again, I'm not exactly sure what trail this is. There wasn't any signage posted at the top of the trailhead, but it's cool. It's a nice double drop into a smooth wall ride, and it's just kind of an alternate route to go down from that trailhead up there by the jumps. So I'm glad I tried this one out. I never made it further than the wall ride. I normally would just turn around and go back up to the trailhead from there. So yeah, that was really cool. So now that I'm making my way out of the park, I think I'd been riding for like 2.5 hours at this point. I'd been there for quite a while. I'd seen a bunch of videos and heard people talking about Vortex, and I'd never found it. Like the trail maps for Cameron Park can be really challenging to find the right path through there and really plan a route. But I finally found the trailhead of Vortex, and I thought I'd give it a try. And you know, it's not exactly the way that I expected it to go. I kind of came up the mountain here, and it looked like I turned too early. And as I was riding up to this, I thought, wow, this is really steep. And I ended up coming up on the other side. It's super off camber, and I just kind of laid the bike over. You know, nothing crazy. I washed out on those rocks and just kind of stopped there for a second and was like, wow, I did not expect the trail to turn into this. I ran into another guy that was mountain biking there when I was getting back to my car, and I mentioned to him that I rode Vortex for the first time, and I told him, you know, when I went down it, I was going all the way up the side on each side every time. and he was like, oh man, that gets pretty sketchy. I don't normally do that. I just kind of stay closer to the middle. And so yeah, that off-camber hill really got me. I mean, I slid off on those rocks and I just kind of coasted down the rest of the trail because I at that point I had no idea what to expect. This is Tar Hill. It's a blue trail that is closer to the other side of the park, where once I come to the end of this trail, I'll be right back at my car, and that's where we'll end up calling it a day. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed some of these new trails that I found and some of the new additions that they had on some of my favorites that are in the park. So a lot of fun. I'm glad that I joined that Facebook group so that I was able to see what everybody was up to. A lot of good people in there. So if you do ride in Cameron Park, I would suggest checking out that Facebook group. There's a lot of good information in there about events that are happening in Cameron Park, or updates to any trails, or even if they make new ones. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what you want to see next. And if you don't want to miss any of my videos that I'm putting out over the next few weeks, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And until then, I'll see you guys out there on the trails.